Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies and gents, you see Candace? Candace is part of the Federal Reserve. She's a lawyer. She's been communicating back and forth, always sending the same junk. And so I put together something for you all. Eventually, I will post this, but right now, I don't have the time to do it. I got a consult in less than 30 minutes. Got a meeting, then I got another consult after that, so it's a long day. So I'll try to do it by tomorrow, which is Sunday, so that all of you can use this to respond back to that prostitute, I'm sorry, slut, I mean cow, I mean dog, I mean, wench, I mean hoe, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. No, let me explain why I can call this give me a second. Whew, gonna make me come out of my skin. This stupid hoe. I'm sorry. She calls me EeoN, natural man. Then she says, Mr. Natural Man. Now, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can see it says EeoN, a natural man. A is a qualifier. Qualifier. Go look it up. She knows that ain't my last name. It's a comma. Nobody has a comma in their name. She knows that ain't my last name. She knows my name is EeoN. But she, this hoe, this slut, this prostitute, Candace, this is her right here. Okay, she is a public official. Her information is public. So it doesn't violate anybody's policies, YouTube, TikTok, or anybody else's. She has no privacy rights because she's a public official. She sent this in her public capacity because she is a public official for the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. She says, according to her stupidity, that she's responding to a correspondence that we sent on behalf of one of our clients. You appear to have submitted. I did not appear, nor have I submitted, you stupid hoe. Apologize. A FOIA request seeking records of personal account information. Individuals using a discount window on their own behalf. Individual ownership of master account accounts. Nobody said nothing about no individual ownership, and nobody said anything about individuals accessing a discount window on their own behalf, or the ability for individuals to submit their debts in exchange for Federal Reserve notes. Ain't nobody said nothing about none of that bull. She's trying to say this is a sovereign so-called citizen movement thing, and nobody doing no sovereign citizen movement anything. In response to your request that is properly submitted under FOIA and accepted for processing, the board will conduct a reasonable search of records as seems likely in a particular circumstance to contain information of the kind requested. Blah, 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 blah. Please be advised that there is no mechanisms in which individuals are able to interact with the discount window on their own behalf. Pay attention, on their own behalf. She's being very specific with that phrase. Additionally, master accounts are only available to financial institutions, not individuals. Well, according to the President and Presidential Proclamation 2039, anyone conducting banking business is a financial institution, a banking institution, you stupid hoe. Further, there is no mechanism by which individuals may submit their personal debts. Ain't nobody submitting no personal debts. I promise you we ain't submitted no personal debts. We ain't submitted to nothing to the Federal Reserve in exchange for Federal Reserve notes. Accordingly, there can be no records of this type you are seeking. Because it is not reasonably likely the board possesses these information that we're requesting, your FOIA request will not be accepted for processing. Isn't that a shame? Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ain't that a shame that she would say some stupid stuff like this? Miss Diamond Weaver Bay? Now that is interesting. Or me. I'm not contacting you, ho. I've already tried contacting you. You ain't never responded to me directly. You keep sending me junk like this. So let me tell y'all what y'all gonna send her. Pay attention. You are a liar. I'll explain based on facts and conclusions of law, not presumptions, as you chose to rely. In fact, the Federal Reserve Act, Title Number 4, Section 401, Subsection 18, Paragraph 6, and Section 403O, or Subsection 13, explicitly states that individuals, can access the discount window. Got to do it one more time. Says that they can access the discount window. This is not an opinion. This is a precise section, or this is the precise section dealing with the discount window and individuals having a right to apply to the discount window for the issuance of Federal Reserve notes. Sorry, I just sent this to this hoe. I didn't proofread it because she done pissed me off. That's right. Candace. I use her name so she can understand that she got my attention. Your operating circular, specifically 10, and we're going to highlight a section, but it's not the main section that promotes, permits, allows, condones, subsidizes the access to the discount window by individuals, U.S. borrowers. Appendix number 3. Appendix number 3 says specifically, U.S. borrowers desiring the capacity to borrow funds from the local Federal Reserve Bank should submit the following documents, forms of which are included. And it gives the forms. Candace, it says a borrower, otherwise otherwise known as a U.S. borrower, should consult the Federal Reserve for special instructions. Candace, the communication you sent indicates that I have contacted the right place. Candace, it's been a year and you keep lying. Candace, you are a liar, sorry. I apologize. You are an official representative of this commercial banking institution. Candace, I must hold you liable, your official capacity and your personal capacity, for blocking access to this government-sponsored activity. Candace, the Federal Reserve Act was put in place for the Federal Reserve. It's supposed to be not for the Federal Reserve, but that's the AI system doing that. But for the people to have access to this expanded and elastic currency that includes any notes. Candace, did you know that what a person deposits, supposed to be when a person deposits a promissory note with any membered bank of the Federal Reserve, and it is received, accepted, procured, that this depository institution, that it becomes an obligation of the Federal Reserve and a security thus satisfying the so-called IOU? Of course, Congress and General Assembly, when amending the act known as the National Emergency Economic Banking Relief Act, they stated the following, and I give her the facts of how they called it a security and how they said it was to be at par and how they made sure, pay attention, that it was a security. Now, provided you with an act of Congress known as the Federal Reserve Act and its amendment, March 9, 1933, that I provided you with the congressional record of that same day, not going to provide you with 59 Stat 30, it's supposed to be 59 Stat 237, subsection 2 and 3, which highlights that these promissory notes are being received by a depository institution as collateral and security for the issuance of Federal Reserve notes, and how Federal Reserve notes issued by the Federal Reserve, of how the Federal Reserve issues Federal Reserve notes to depository institutions, situations on the borrower's behalf who applies for the capacity to operate as any Federal Reserve Bank. So Candace, in your ignorance, because you lack knowledge, the word ignorance means to ignore knowledge, your presumption is hereby formally rebutted, supported by facts and conclusions of the law. You're an attorney. You know that statutes at large, acts of Congress, and congressional records coupled with the United States Constitution, it's not supposed to say innocence, is the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Ninth Amendment, and 10th Amendment of the Constitution solidifies the laws of the United States. That constitutes law. Candace, you do not have my permission to Adore me. That's the AI system doing that, and I'm going to leave it. I am not going to change that. It said it was supposed to be ignore me, but it does that. The AI system does this on purpose. Okay? I hope I got your attention, Candace, since you want to keep writing the same stupid stuff, making it appear that it serves as a response. Candace, your response and your offer to ignore me is hereby denied. You are foreclosed, and stopped from any further interference with the right to access government via the Federal Reserve Act and the funds defined as current coins and currencies of the United States. As a result of the June 5th Act 1933, otherwise known as an act to uniform the value of the coins and currencies of the United States. It's supposed to be an act to assure the uniform value of the coins and currency of the United States, but oh well. Hey, Candace, you can do better, so start. That's my notifying Candace. Then I say, and look here, you ignorant idiot. You know what my name is. You keep calling me out of my name. And it's supposed to be, I'm going to hold you personally. And, it's supposed to be dehumanization, demoralization amounts to discrimination. Look it up. I don't care if you're offended. Candace. See, that time it was me. You decided in your official capacity to call me out of my name, and you've done so repeatedly. So I'm going to get you for dehumanization and dehumiliation and racism. I don't care if she is a person of color. You don't get to dehumanize a person of color, especially a man. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you must understand that is what they have repeatedly done since the so-called Trail of Tears. Don't believe me? Go take a look. The most dehumanization thing that they could ever have done to people of color is to say that they weren't the original indigenous people when Columbus arrived here. Go back, do your research. We've been lied to. We were told that Alexander Graham Bell discovered the telephone. We were lied to. We're told that Benjamin Franklin created the glasses. Eyeglasses that you wear on your face. We were lied to. They continue to lie to us at every single turn. Why? Because they have to shape the narrative. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to correct any of the mistakes because I can't. This document is locked. I'm not going to correct any of the mistakes. I'm going to leave them just as they is because that shows that, pay attention, that I know what I'm talking about. See, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm going to give this to you guys is because I want you to see the argument. This is proof that you don't owe any money. This is proof that your promissory note is a security. Pay attention. The value of such securities. What securities? Notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances. Okay? May issue Federal Reserve banknotes to the amount of 90% of the value of such securities. Congress intended for them to be securities, not the Securities Exchange Act. Against the securities of notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances acquired under the provisions of this act, the amount thereof shall be equal to not more than 90% of the value of such securities. Okay? Pay attention. So deposited as securities. And when the Federal Reserve Bank, through the local Federal Reserve agent, receives this and they deposit your note with the Federal Reserve, it becomes a, pay attention, security, and it becomes their obligation, not yours. You don't owe no more money. Once they accept your promissory note, the deal is over. The deal is gone. The deal is gone. Okay? The deal is over. Your promissory note constituted payment. Go back, read the act. Now, I did the excerpts from the act for you. The last section of the bill provides for the issuance of a new money. That's why they were elastic currency. I'm a little bit at a loss in another way in which we've had to blah, 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 blah. I refer to Section 401. Ladies and gentlemen, he's referring to this section. I included Section 401. Anyway, and what did he say? Which reads, upon deposit with the Treasury of the United States of America and contract obligation of the United States or any notes and so forth. Under the Federal Reserve Act, these obligations are deposited as security. That's all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. And then they tell you again what their intent is. And the security back of it is the obligation notes, drafts, bills of exchange. Now, I want y'all to bear with me one more second because I got to show y'all something, okay? I got to copy this, so, I keep doing that, y'all. 1 second. We got to go backwards. And what I got to do is that first. Can't do that. I got to go smaller. And then I got to do that. And then I got to do this. Woo-wee! Wake up. Did you know that the Supreme Court said it is a rebuttable presumption that a promissory note is a security? Not question mark. This means that depository institutions and or creditors must prove that the promissory note does not qualify as a security. Exclamation mark. The Supreme Court used the Howey test and the family resemblance test in Reeves, lowercase v, period, Ernst & Young, open paren, 1990, close paren, comma, however, comma, it is inapplicable to promissory notes under the Federal Reserve Act of March 9, 1933, which precedes and predates the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Exchange Act of 1934/35, comma, and therefore the definition of a security must be according to congressional intent, according to the congressional record of March 9, 1933, comma, the Congressional Act of March 9, 1933, and 59 Stat 237, subsection numero 2 and subsection numero 3. This is not a nuanced issue, nor is it a complex issue. It is the intent of Congress, comma, the letter of the law, and the actual definition of a security according to the Federal Reserve Act as amended March 9, 1933. Exclamation mark. Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, we gonna go and do an adventure. We gonna do some deep research this time. We ain't gonna just get no simple answer because y'all need to know the truth. That's right, Tevin Campbell, truth with F's. Could you clarify what specific research information you... Wake up. You idiot. I don't have to clarify. I already told you what specific information. Idiot. Stop listening. Whew. Look, understood. I will research the Supreme Court stance on promissory notes as securities, particularly in rebutting presumptions that they are not securities, and I will also analyze. See, the Supreme Court says it is a rebuttable presumption that a promissory note is not a security, because they go into court telling you that the promissory note is not a security. All you got to do is say, hey, sorry, you're wrong, Your Honor. This you can't do this. You don't have the jurisdiction to have a non-judicial foreclosure. You're denying me my right to a fair trial. I have the right to a jury. Where's my jury? I have the right to a trial by jury under the Constitution. They'll say, no, you don't. These proceedings are done without a jury. Nope, can't be, because that thing that he's holding in his hand has been converted to a security. It's called a pledge collateral. Yep, they got a whole agreement with it. It's called the BIC agreement, borrower and custody agreement. I'm the borrower. I'm the one who authorized the pledging of the collateral. Now let them put evidence on the record that I am not the pledger of the collateral. Because I know what Federal Reserve Operating Circular number 10, section 12.3 says. That I gave them permission. I know what appendix number 3 of Federal Reserve Operating Circular number 10 says. It says specifically that I am the one who authorized the pledging of the collateral. So the Supreme Court in Ernst and Young, Reeves versus Ernst and Young, you know that case where they said it is a rebuttable presumption. They have to rebut the presumption that a promissory notice of security. And if you keep playing with me, I'm going to bring up the Federal Reserve Act, which was done March 9, 1933, which predates the Securities Act, where Congress specifically says when I deposit it with the bank, a depository institution, it's a security. So no, you cannot have these proceedings. You have no jurisdiction, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, everything I just said is all you need to say in court. Literally, seriously. But many of you are not going to go back and listen to what I just said, do your research on what I just said, and study what I just said, and say it the next time you go into one of these courts and they're trying to foreclose on your property. Your promissory note was the payment. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to wait on this fool. Look how long he's taking. Also, I'm charging up a battery, and it's taking a little long. It's charging up at, oh, doggy, 11 amps. I'm going to let it charge until I can't charge it no more. The sun's coming up, and it's a whole new day. A whole new world. Okay. Miss Patty Austin and James Ingram. Sorry, that was a perfect combination. Not Johnny Gill and Stacey Ladisaw, but Patty Austin and James Ingram, you couldn't have put a better two together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what? How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from fading too fast? You know what I'm saying? That's James Ingram and Patty. And let me tell you something. You couldn't have had a better combination. They just, man, blended together like butter. Butter blends with so much. Hey, I gotta go. I can't keep this. But what I'll do is I'll share the link in the video. All right? But I do have to go. I have to get ready for this consult. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.